Hello and welcome to Calculus and Vectors for you. I'm going to talk about the assessment and evaluation process for this course. So, what we have to start off with is formative, which means that I'm going to be marking assignments that are worth no marks towards your final mark. So, if you've watched the earlier videos, you already are aware that after you watch a video lesson, you complete the homework, you then have a journal to complete. Now, that journal must be submitted. You send it to me through Shobi, and I will provide you feedback, tell you what you've done right, and if there's anything wrong, we make sure we clear that up. This is my tracking system. It's not for marks, the journals, but they are required to be sent in. Absolutely have to. That's what's going to generate what modules you've completed. Now, every few lessons, I'm going to send you a diagnostic quiz or a quiz. I talked about it in earlier videos. They're not for marks. They provide you with test-style questions in which you can practice. So you can do it immediately after I send them, or you can save them up and use them for review before the test. You can send them to me. I will mark them. I'll tell you what you've done right, what you need to improve on. Okay, so the journals are a requirement, but you do not get a mark for them. You just get a complete, not complete. That's how I track your journal or your module completion. Now, summative. This is where your marks come from. There are 4 units in the calculus and vector test. They are equal weight. Each one will be equal weight on the final exam as well. Your term mark, so based on 4 tests, 70% will be your term mark. Your exam is worth 30%. I believe that's probably pretty standard across the province. Unit tests. So like I said before, there are 4 unit tests. Each test is worth, think of it as a quarter of your term mark, okay? Or you can think of it as, since your term mark is 70%, 70% of 25 is 17.5. So you can think of it as every unit test is worth a little less than 20% of your final mark. But think of it this way, each test is a quarter. There's 4 unit tests, it's worth a quarter. Each unit test is broken into 4 categories. So there's a knowledge category. Those will be the first 2 or 3 pages on the test. It weighs in at 35%. Application will be the last 3 or 4 pages on a test. It's weighted as 35%. So knowledge and application are of equal weight. Communication, what I do is I look at your entire test. I make sure you've used proper vector signs, proper derivative signs, etc., etc. So I'm looking for communication. Have you done your therefore statements? And that category is worth 15%. So when I send a unit test, those three categories will be what I'm marking. The 4th category, which you'll find in your Shobi account under thinking tasks, it's worth the missing 15%. So these are questions that are a little bit more challenging. So they require a little bit more thinking. I don't like putting them on tests because these are types of questions you need maybe a little bit of time to think about. So you can move into the next unit, and then when you have thought about it, you can go ahead and do these questions. All right, so that'll be worth 15%. So again, 4 components. The unit test has 3 of the categories: knowledge, application, communication. Then you'll do a thinking task, which is a small assignment. It shouldn't take you, when you sit down to do it, it shouldn't take you more than 1 period, 75 minutes to complete. All right, so that will be done after you do the unit test, and that's where your mark comes from. The exam will cover the year, the entire year. It will be evenly balanced on the 4 units. So this is where your mark comes from. So again, unit tests, there are 4 of them. That's what will be that will make up your mark for the course. Formative journals must be submitted. You don't have to save them up. You can submit them 1 at a time, or you can send 3 in at a time for an entire module. That's up to you. If you have any other questions, let me know, and I will help by answering them.